Modernization has been regarded as the pinnacle of human development. We are told that we are living in the best era in history, a world where technology has eliminated many of the challenges faced by previous generations. We can communicate instantly with anyone on the planet, access an endless amount of information, and enjoy conveniences that were unimaginable just a few decades ago. However, despite all these advantages, something fundamental still seems to be missing. Instead of feeling more fulfilled, many people experience an emptiness they cannot explain. We were promised a better world, but somewhere along the way, that promise was broken. From a young age, we absorbed the story that society develops in a linear and progressive way. We believed that every innovation would lead us to a fuller, more comfortable, and meaningful life. However, this belief is rarely questioned. It is assumed that technological and economic progress automatically means an increase in welfare. But if that's true, why do so many people feel unsatisfied? Modernity has created a paradox. Rather than bringing us closer to happiness, it amplifies the sense of disconnection. The issue isn't the progress itself, but how human existence has been redefined within this new structure. Society has turned life into an endless race, where the goal is no longer to live, but to produce and consume. We are taught that the key to fulfillment lies in continuous growth, accumulating goods, optimizing time, and maximizing performance. Yet, in our frantic pursuit of these ideals, we have lost sight of what truly matters. The promise of progress has also sold us the illusion of connection. We are told that technology will bring us closer than ever before, that it will eliminate distance and facilitate human relationships. However, the reality proves the opposite. Instant communication does not strengthen relationships, it makes them more superficial. Digital interactions have replaced genuine contact, and the constant exposure to others' lives has turned comparison into a destructive habit. Never before has humanity had access to so many forms of interaction, yet the feeling of isolation continues to rise. Another pillar of the broken promise is the idea that knowledge will set us free. Access to information is nearly limitless, but instead of leading us to a deeper understanding of the world, it has overwhelmed us in an ocean of distractions. We live in an explosion of stimuli that scatters our attention and prevents us from pausing to reflect. Information is no longer a vehicle for wisdom. It has become a product for quick consumption, designed more for entertainment than enriching knowledge. The structure of the system itself has shaped our desires and expectations. We are taught that success is synonymous with status, that financial stability is the foundation of happiness, that life should be planned and measured by achievements. But these goals, rather than bringing fulfillment, have created a constant sense of lack. Progress has imposed a mechanistic view of existence, where a person's value is measured by their productivity and usefulness in the social machine. The fundamental issue is that modernity has redefined the meaning of life with standards that do not align with human happiness. Economic growth is prioritized over personal development, entertainment is placed above self-reflection, and efficiency is valued more than meaning. We have been taught to pursue ultimate goals that never fill the void we feel. The paradox of progress is that it has made us more efficient but not happier, more connected but not more united, wiser but not more discerning. This contradiction is not an accident or a simple system failure, but an inevitable consequence of a structure that prioritizes the operation of society over personal fulfillment. Modern life has turned us into cogs in an ever-moving machine, participants in a game where the rules are already set, and the only choice seems to be to continue without questioning where this path will lead. The structure of modern life has shaped us based on our utility in a system that never stops. From birth, every individual is prepared to fit into a machine that demands constant effort. We are educated with the idea that work is the essence of existence, the purpose that gives meaning to our days. However, in this model, work is rarely seen as the path to personal fulfillment. Instead, it becomes an unavoidable duty, dictating the rhythm of life, consuming time, energy, and health without offering any real reward beyond mere existence. The workday has been extended in subtle and relentless ways. Even when the workday ends, the mind remains trapped in never-ending worries. The technology we were promised would make life easier has blurred the boundaries between personal life and work, keeping everyone in a state of constant readiness. Fatigue is not only physical, but also mental. It is the feeling of perpetual exhaustion, of being trapped in an endless loop where every day feels like the last, with no space for true rest or pause. Productivity has been lauded as the ultimate virtue, while free time has been sidelined as a waste rather than a basic need. The system imposes an invisible yet persistent pressure to maintain busyness, and working without rest has become an unforgivable sin, as if our very existence depends on our ability to produce without taking breaks. However, in this unrelenting race, exhaustion is inevitable. Anxiety and stress are not abnormalities, but the natural state of those trained to measure their worth through achievements. Consumption has emerged as another pillar of this equation. For the system to function, it's not enough to work tirelessly. One must also spend. We have been taught that satisfaction lies in accumulating goods, to view consumption as a path to happiness. But this happiness never comes because the mechanism is designed to never be satisfied. As soon as one product is obtained, the need for another arises. An illusion is created that satisfaction is always within reach, but in reality, it is a mirage. The closer we get, the further it moves. We live in an eternal promise of something better, not realizing that life is passing us by in the process. Disconnection from people is another consequence of this model. Interactions have become commodities, reduced to transactions carried out with the same efficiency and profit-driven logic that governs the rest of the system. Time has become a scarce resource, and relationships are also affected by this mindset. Conversations are interrupted by notifications, meetings are squeezed into overloaded schedules, and deep relationships weaken in an environment where distraction is the norm. Extreme individualism has been exalted as an ideal, but in reality, it has isolated people. Self-reliance has been praised to the point where emotional dependence is seen as a weakness. The idea that every individual must be fully autonomous, able to face life without anyone else, has become the norm. But the truth is that human connection is a basic need, not a luxury. The absence of meaningful relationships has created a void that cannot be filled by entertainment, success, or material possessions. The result of this model is a society where loneliness has become a silent epidemic. This is not chosen loneliness, the kind that allows for reflection and personal growth, but a loneliness imposed by a fragmented system of relationships that turns people into independent units operating within an indifferent framework. We live in a world full of others, yet we do not feel a sense of belonging to one another. The lack of genuine connection creates an uncomfortable, vague feeling, a sense of emptiness that we try to fill with distractions that never truly soothe. This scene has become so normal that few stop to ask questions. It has been accepted as the only way to live, the unavoidable cost of progress. Yet beneath this veneer of normalcy, something doesn't quite fit, a persistent feeling that something is missing, that life shouldn't feel this way. However, expressing this dissatisfaction is difficult because the prevailing narrative continues to repeat that everything is better than ever, that the problem lies not with the system, but with each individual's inability to adapt to it. In a world seemingly designed to keep us busy, producing, and distracted, the fundamental question remains: why? Modern life, with all its material splendor and technological progress, has robbed many of a deeper understanding of themselves. The disconnection, alienation, and emptiness that each person feels daily are not merely side effects of a flawed system, but the result of a deeper disconnection, a disconnection from ourselves. The search for purpose, once considered the priority of human existence, has been dissolved into a web of external expectations, imposed goals, and societal ideals. We have been taught to find meaning outside of ourselves, in wealth, in accumulating achievements, in social recognition. But this pursuit only leads to dissatisfaction, for these achievements never seem to fill the inner void. The life we are introduced to as the most progressive, most modern, is actually built on an empty foundation. This emptiness becomes more apparent when we pause for a moment, when we allow ourselves to think for a moment and ask, amidst all this noise, is this really what we're searching for? Each time we immerse ourselves in the rhythm of societal expectations, each time we follow the flow, we lose a vital part of ourselves. We tell ourselves that it's all part of the process, that success is just one step away, but that turning point never comes. And the worst part is, we have become accustomed to this feeling. We have learned to live with the anxiety that tomorrow will bring something better, when in reality, the future is merely a reflection of the present. Recognizing this emptiness is neither easy nor immediate. It is a painful process because it means facing the truth that the system does not have the answers it promised. The search for pleasure, comfort, and social recognition only leads to dissatisfaction, and this only intensifies over time. One might think this process only happens to the most desperate, but in reality, it is a shared experience for everyone living at the center of the modern model. The ongoing question is whether all of this is really all we want. This is the manifestation of a deeper longing, the longing to live authentically, the desire to find meaning that does not depend on what we have or what others think. This emptiness is not only about the lack of clear personal goals, but also the lack of connection to something greater, something beyond ourselves. You see, sometimes a simple realization can become the turning point, starting a new perspective on life, a path that doesn't measure our worth by what we own, but by who we truly are, by what we give, by what we're able to create, when we finally break free from the invisible chains of a system that taught us to live for others' expectations, not for ourselves. And that is the real crisis of modern society. It's not the lack of progress, but the emptiness it brings. We've made too many strides, we've moved too fast, but in the process, we've drifted further away from what truly matters. In the end, we've lost our way in a maze, a place where success, consumption, and productivity are celebrated as the ultimate goals. But in the end, they are only illusions. And while we're busy chasing these illusions, we find ourselves trapped in a vicious cycle, always reaching for satisfaction that always seems just out of reach. But the truth is, what we truly need is not more stuff, not achieving more, or checking off more boxes. What we truly need is to live with purpose, to rediscover the path back to what makes us human, to remember how to feel, how to slow down, how to be present, to reconnect with ourselves, with others, and with something deeper that can't be bought, earned, or measured. Because only when we stop seeking answers outside and begin listening to what is within, do we realize one important thing. The meaning of life is never hidden in the rush, the noise, or the race to keep up with a world that never stops moving. It is in the stillness, in the moments of genuine reflection, in the depth of true relationships, and in the connection with ourselves, beneath the layers, beyond the roles, and outside the expectations. If you find this message valuable, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos that help you explore more about yourself. I know that the like button may seem like a small action, but trust me, it's actually a powerful way to help this message reach others who might need it. And before you go, you might see a few suggested videos pop up on your screen. I could explain them to you, but all I'll say is that they dive deeper into the ideas we've explored here. If you feel ready to continue this self-exploration journey, I truly believe you'll find it worth watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining in on this reflection, and I truly hope we'll meet again soon.